afternoon. I'm in Wandsworth today, and I'm with the wonderful Pascall Gerrard, who is the founder of Street Cube. Welcome, Pascall.
Hey Jenny, nice to meet you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. So let's start by asking you, what is Street Cube? Can you tell me a bit about it?
Sure. We've got the Street Cube right behind us. So
Okay.
it's a 10-foot solar-powered kitchen cube. So it's solar-powered. It's professional kitchen inside, and we build them and develop Street Cube as a philosophy to help young chefs to get into high footfall spaces like this, so that they can trade sustainable food.
Right. Tell me, so is this a market also?
Yeah, so
It is, yeah?
we have a market that comes here on weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to complement the street cubes.
Yes.
And farmers market traders bring produce like organic fruit and veg, bread, fish, meat, cheese, etc. And the chefs use some of that as well. You know, they've got an agreement with us that the chef has to focus on sustainability. So that means cutting CO2.
Right.
Improving public health and championing sustainable food. I mean, not many people really understand what that is at the moment. I didn't either, but I did a lot of research, and really sustainable food, sustainability is about cutting our CO2 budget, really.
Is that within the food as well? Actually, with the ingredients in the food?
Yes, indeed. Yes. So the simple way to do that is to rely on a more local system. That's using more organic food and that's using more seasonal food. We also eliminate all plastic and we eliminate food waste as well. So all of those things combined can help us to reduce the CO2 in food by up to 80%.
Okay.
So in a way, with this living wall as well.
Tell me about this wall.
Well, it's a living wall. It's basically more symbolic, but it represents. I mean, it's actually very functional as well because it sequesters CO2. That means it sucks in CO2 and it breathes out oxygen, clean oxygen. So here you can see we've got some wild strawberries growing as well, and we've got some thyme, we've got some dill, we've got some fennel, we've got some mint, oregano, marjoram. You know, everything here is edible.
And the chefs use it as they cook in as well?
Well, no, they don't use it in their cooking. They use others
Okay.
in their cooking, but this is sitting out here doing a function. It's sucking in bad air and pushing out clean air. But it's also symbolic. It shows, it's the first flag of the fact that we are sustainable and that we care about nature. I mean, nature has a really, really important role to play in our world. And we seem to have forgotten the importance of nature. You know, money seems to have trumped nature, but you know, I see this as a battle, and there's only going to be one winner, and that's nature in the end. So we are sort of staring at a catastrophe in the face with extinction. So the fifth mass extinction was during the Jurassic period, 85 million years ago. We saw off the last of the dinosaurs, and we've got evidence of that on our Jurassic coast in Dorset. So if you go down to Dorset, you go to places like the Dome Door and Boscombe, for example, you'll find remains, you'll find evidence of the last mass extinction. Now we're looking at the sixth mass extinction, humans. So, you know, we're in the age of the Holocene, which is the human age, but we're moving towards a new geological time period called the Anthropocene. Anthropocene relates to man, and if you like, the evidence of man's destruction, if you like, on the planet. So the Anthropocene is measured in, geological time periods are measured in layers. So you'll see when you cut a rock in half, you'll see many different layers. You say, well, this is the Cretaceous period, and this is the Triassic, and this is Jurassic. But for the Anthropocene period, you'll see a layer of plastic.
Oh, wow. So did you do a lot of research to find this out?
Yeah, I'm always reading stuff. I'm always fascinated about, you know, how the world functions. You know, I did a journalism degree many years ago and done a lot of traveling, and the thing that really spurred me on to doing something about Street Cube was that my daughter was born with celiac disease. Celiac disease is a gut microbiome problem which is caused by it's an allergy to gluten. Now I've studied a link with with this condition of celiac disease, and I've noticed that there's a very strong correlation to the use of pesticides and the increase on gut diseases, gut health, with irritable bowel syndrome, diverticulosis, celiac disease, and all these things, and autoimmune systems are really sort of going a bit wrong because of, I think, the overuse of chemical pesticides. And the problem with using chemical pesticides is that the more you use, the more you need to use. And the other thing is that nowadays, a lot of us don't realize that a lot of our seeds for growing food are privately owned. They are copyrighted.
Oh,
do you know that?
I did not know that. I did not know that.
More than 60-70% of the world's
How come
seeds.
we don't hear about this? Where do you need to find this here? How come we don't hear about this on the news or something like
Research, Google it, it's all out there.
Okay.
If you put into Google who owns the majority of the world's seeds, you'll find the names of some companies, which I don't think is right, personally.
Yeah.
So what I set Street Cube up for, because I realised, looking back at old photos in the 1970s and things like that, looking back at family images, one in particular was one of us walking through this fairground near Paris called La Fête des Loges. It's a little village called Loges, and the fête was the fête of Loges. And so looking back at those pictures, I saw everyone's skinny.
Yeah.
Everyone's wearing flares and just walking along skinny. They're not holding a big thing of Coke. They're not holding a big fat burger, they're just walking along and everyone's slim. Fast forward 50 years, now what do we see? That's not our fault. That's not our fault. The problem being, it's not the overeating of junk food, although that is a massive problem. The problem is the overuse of pesticides. Because our bodies are not able to process the multitude of chemicals that are on our food these days. Now, it's not just one pesticide, it's about a dozen. So whilst each one of them is tested individually and deemed safe, they're never tested together as a cocktail. And that is a cocktail effect, which is causing quite a lot of havoc with our health. So the only way to do it is to go organic, right? That's the only standard now that you can have faith in. Now that we're signing this deal with the United States, with going through the House of Lords, the new agricultural bill, going through kind of a little bit quietly for my liking.
If you don't mind me saying, are they using some sort of, the chicken I've heard in America, they're using some sort of fluoride to clean the chicken, or inject it in the chicken. How can that be helpful? That's what I've heard.
Well, they say that it's healthy for us because it helps to eliminate any bacteria that's on the surface of the chicken. But the UK, up until now, has had the Protectorate of Europe and has higher standards, where our chickens are in a much better condition anyway. So we produce chicken meat that is of a higher quality because it's got less bacteria, etc. We don't need to wash them in chlorine. So when you're having to wash food in chlorine to kill the bacteria to make it safe, then it doesn't say much for the animal welfare, for the condition of the chicken in the first place. And so part of the philosophy that we should all be looking at is better welfare for animals. The other thing is that hormone injected beef is another scare story that we're hearing a lot about. And again, what they're fed on as well. And a lot of the beef that comes from America and South America is fed on genetically modified soy. And to grow that soy, you have to cut down a lot of trees. So the problem really about people turning vegan is mainly linked to sort of the 99 pence cheeseburgers that we all tend to be eating, and not realizing that actually that beef is helping to destroy the rainforest, and that beef is being fed on genetically modified soy. Now, GM food is banned in the UK, it's banned in Europe, but it's not banned in America. Now, you can see what's coming, can't you? With the agricultural bill, we're very worried that we will abandon our protectorate against genetically modified food. And the scientists will argue, well, genetic modification is really just advancing up nature. That's what they say. They just tweak a little gene here and there, and nature would have gone there anyway. Well, that's not really the case. That's easy to sell it to people and to our governments and sell. It's all money driven. But really, there is no proof, there is no evidence to back up those claims. Because we haven't lived through that yet. By releasing genetically modified organisms into nature, we are changing things. We can never go back. So there's a lot of research out there. A lot of it we publish on our website at streetcube.org.
Okay.
So if you go to the website, you'll see on the left menu Street Cube Science. Click on there. There's about 24 papers that I've researched personally. The IPCC, the Inter-Panel Committee for Climate Change. It's got the Paris Agreement on there. This is the agreement that we've all signed up to reduce CO2. It's the Paris Agreement, one that America have opted out of. And it just seems a little bit out of sorts that we're doing a deal with America for their food systems to come over here. We've abandoned Europe. We're going the wrong way. So this is why I started Street Cube. It's to give young chefs the opportunity to help change the system, to trade and profitably. Because the first rule of sustainability is financial sustainability. I think if you cannot survive financially, forget it. So I built these kitchens out of 10-foot shipping containers, so that I can place them anywhere, and a young chef can trade and feed people with good food. I want the chef to become almost like the champion of public health of his area. So it's the chef's responsibility. We give him that responsibility to go and source the best produce, the most organic produce, the healthiest produce, and to, if you like, alchemize or create healthy food with that. Ingredients. So we don't want just more burgers and chips. We don't just want more fried chicken and whatever. We can have chicken. Let's try another way. Let's try another recipe. You just had the chicken wrap.
I had the chicken wrap.
So tell me about that.
It was lovely, and it was very. I was saying that it wasn't very. How can I say? Compared to if I was to have a wrap with, I don't really want to say the company, it would be more salty. But this I found more fresh.
So more
flavour, tasty, and it was happy.
So what you're tasting there is Mother Earth, if you like. It's organic food. Because food that's non-organic is nowadays just grown in hydroponic factories.
I've seen
enormous great up factories, and they're not really in contact with the soil. They're in contact with a hydroponic liquid solution that's got. Well, in times of extreme poverty, if we were to go through a massive crisis with food, then hydroponic solutions might be one option if you look at. But really, at the moment, we need to be changing our soil system. The soil is the most important part of our planetary and our human health. Because the soil contains more carbon than our trees. And if we're pumping the soil full of chemicals, then we're destroying the soil, and the soil is releasing that CO2. So we've got about 60 years left of soil health. If we carry on the way we're going, we won't have any soil left, because it will be barren, it will be infertile, and we won't grow food. The other thing is that's happening is that the overuse of pesticides. They disrupt the gut endocrine and the gut function in the insects that consume the pesticide. So the bee or whatever will consume that pesticide and go off and die. So we've seen a massive reduction in bee colonies in the last 50 years. We've seen more than 70% reduction in honeybees, and we need honeybees. We need pollinators to pollinate these plants. If we can't pollinate them, and the bee unwittingly goes from one flower to the next, taking that pollen and pollinating the next plant. So without bees, we just can't grow food. And so the glyphosate and all those other neonicotinoids and all those pesticides that we're using are killing our insects. But nature's smart. Nature finds a way, and so what actually is happening in reality is that they're resisting. Of course, as you would, they don't want to die. So they're finding more ways, and bacteria finds a way to get around these chemicals. So the answer for the chemical companies is to put more chemicals on them. So we've got to the level where in this country we're less than 2% organic. Everything we consume has been treated with with pesticides.
Yeah.
98% of everything we use. Unless we physically look for the organic standard, we're consuming chemicals. Those chemicals, not just disrupting the insect's gut, they're disrupting ours as well.
Yeah.
So our gut health problems, most of our diet-related conditions are as a result of an industrial chemical, I call it a broken food system. But we're here to try and fix that.
Yeah. Do you think you're being heard?
No, I'm not. But
You're not.
I've only got 2 small shipping container street cube kitchens here, and I'm putting a 3rd one in a few weeks' time.
Yeah.
But it's going to take some time. I mean, I think we will reach a critical mass eventually, where people are waking up. I mean, I see massive moves towards organic movement.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not just for the elite. And we built this in order so that everyone can have access to good food, because it's everyone's right to have access to good food. We might think that it's how we can only afford a 99 pence cheeseburger, but we want to make organic food available to everyone, because everyone has the right to access good food, not just the wealthy. It's here for everyone.
Yeah.
So if you like, it's almost like, well, I want to focus on the Michelin standard, but make it accessible to everyone. So everyone's got a fiver, 6 quid, and everyone can enjoy food that's healthy.
And it's clean. I was saying as well, the food tastes so clean. You know, taste the cleanliness of it. Yeah. So my next question is, well, you answered that. So Street Cube is a project to help reduce the CO2, as you said, improve public health, and empower independent food products and producing chefs to sell diversity to their clientele. Do you have any plans for any new locations?
Yes, absolutely. We're talking to people all the time, and this is, I mean, we need help as well. I mean, there's only me and a couple of other people behind Street Cube, and so we need help all the time. In fact, talking to people involved in Street Cube, we're about to set up a scheme whereby we can offer a grant to young chefs worth up to about £50,000. Now that would include their own Street Cube kitchen.
Yes.
It will include some training, and will include the first couple of months' rent. So we'll set them up for free. What we need in return is for them to go out and find a location.
Right.
So that would be basically wherever you live, in London or in Manchester or whatever. If you say, well, that would make a fantastic location in the Street Cube, I wonder who owns this land. Well, do some research for us. Go and find out who owns the land. Get in touch. We'll help you to put a Street Cube there. We'll help you get set up in business. So that's what we're looking to do. But we would welcome.
Because you've been here for only a year.
We've been here, just 1 year in May. Raymond Blanc came to open the project in May last year. So Raymond Blanc being a very famous world-class Michelin chef with 2 Michelin stars at the Manoir Roquette Saison up in Oxfordshire. So his son Olivier, who I met at the Sustainable Restaurant Association bash over in East London a couple of years ago, he joined the project and helped me considerably. And Raymond came to the opening here, and so he supports the project, with everything he can. And so we take a lot of some of that energy from Raymond, and we try to pass it on to the chefs. And you'll see all our chefs are very proud, wearing Street Cube chef whites, looking very professional, and their methods here is very professional. I'm sure you get a chance to have a look at what they're doing later on.
Definitely around that.
But they're built really. I mean, I had no idea about COVID-19. I had no idea that would happen.
That's a shock.
But it was a shock. But it turned out that the Street Cube kitchens were actually almost made to deal with COVID, because you've got that natural distance between the chef and the customer. You've got about a 2 meter gap.
So did it affect you much?
We remained open. I mean, trade here just fell off a cliff. No one came here for a long time. But we started delivering meals for homeless. We started delivering meals for NHS staff. We started delivering meals for people that couldn't make it out. And we did all we could to help those people. But now, life has got back to normal. I think we're probably about 20% of normal. But we're back in business. There's people on the piazza and some life.
Well, Pascall. I want to just say thank you so much for your short interview here. And before I go, I want to ask you 5 random questions.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay, number 1 is, how would you describe yourself in 1 word? Just 1.
Creative.
I like that. Why?
Well, I've always been artistic.
Yes.
Why am I creative? I guess it's just my place in the family. I was second born. I had to listen to my big brother all the time.
Yeah.
And I guess the quieter ones are the more observant ones. Maybe you listen more, and I guess I translate that into art and creativity. And he was always the one getting in trouble. I was always the one like staying out of it. So yeah, I guess it's my timing. I was born in July, so maybe that's got some sort of creativity in that sense.
Thank you for that. What do you love?
Well, I love people. I love food. I love traveling. I love connecting people through food. I love nature. I love the planet. I love the fact that we have such an amazing life that we enjoy. And I love learning about things. And I love sort of. Sometimes you get yourself into a really bad situation, but if you just hang on, sometimes it gets better as well.
Yes.
So life has its ups and downs, and life is a learning journey.
Yes.
So I love all that kind of stuff. So you take the rough with the smooth.
Okay. And what do you? That question's gone wrong. Okay, I'll come back to that one. What would you like to change, either about the world or your own life? Let's start with the world first.
Yeah, well, that's a big question.
That's a big one, isn't
big
it?
question. I'd like to change, the course of humanity. I'd like us to actually realise our true potential as a race. As a combined, race of people. We're all the same. No matter what our colour, our creed, our religion.
That's right.
We've got 2 arms, legs, eyes, mouth, everything.
the same,
All in the same way. If I was a banana, maybe we'd be different.
I know. I'd be a pineapple.
Well, I'd be a banana. But yeah, a big world vision would be to unite everybody through food and good health.
Yeah. Okay. And what about your own life? What would you like to change about your own life? If there's anything. It might not be, It might be okay, you might be already your own perfect.
Well, I named my cubes after my children. So this one is called Eloise, which is my daughter's, and the other one's called Luke, who's my son.
Okay,
If I could change anything, I would have them here with me every day, and overseeing the cubes.
Yeah, that's nice. And the last question is, what's in your pocket, Jerry?
Car keys,
Yeah.
some earpods,
Yeah.
a wallet with nothing in it, and there's nothing in this one. I must have used it.
Thank you so much for my 5 random questions. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Well, thank you.